Good evening. Welcome to day 2 of the 2018 Toronto International Film Festival. My name is Michael Lerman. I'm the Senior Manager of Festival Programming here. How are you guys doing? Are you enjoying the festival so far? Good. Before we go any further, I'd like to acknowledge that tonight's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat, and we are so thankful to be part of that community, hosted by that community every day of every year. Yes. This film is eligible for the Girls' People's Choice Award. There's the way to vote. You go to tiff.net/vote, and you just cast your vote for as many movies as you want that you think are your favorite movie in the festival, which should be everything you're seeing, really. I also want to thank Great Point Media and the British Council for supporting the screening. They've been great partners to us throughout the years with lots of screenings. So. I'm not going to say too much beforehand. You know, if you've been to TIFF before, you know that there's a lot of things we show that are hotly anticipated titles. There are a lot of Oscar buzz. There's things like that. But the real pleasure of our job is putting something in and putting it up on a screen and seeing something you've never seen before from somebody you totally didn't expect it to, somewhere you didn't expect it to come from. And that's really the theme of the Discovery section. It's the really exciting thing about the Discovery section. And tonight we get to bring a new filmmaker into the world. So without further ado, I'd like to bring to the stage the director of GWEN, William McGregor.
Hello. So, yeah, thank you to TIFF for screening our film. It is a genuine pleasure and honor to be here. This cinema is a gorgeous-looking cinema. It's absolutely beautiful. So it's actually extra special because it's our world premiere. This is the very first time any audience has seen this film. We've not even done the cast and crew, so it's the first time these guys are seeing it too. So the film's actually born tonight, so thank you all for being a part of that. It's really special for me, so thank you. I need to thank someone who isn't here. I'm going to do a few thank yous. I'll try and not take too long, but take the opportunity.
It's all coming out of the Q&A, all of it. Yeah,
yeah, it's all right. Hilary Bevan-Jones, who was one of our producers, who I met at a student film festival 9 years ago, and meeting her genuinely changed my life and is one of the reasons this film exists. So thank you, Hilary, and sorry you couldn't be with us tonight. She's shooting in South Africa. So yeah. Also, someone else who's been instrumental is Lizzie Frankie from the BFI. The BFI's support and belief has just been fantastic, and we couldn't have made this film. You let us do our thing. Thank you so much for that. Also need to say thank you to Great Point Media and Film Wales. We wouldn't have made this film without you. Thank you so much. I'm getting there. Maxine Peake, who can't be with us because she's shooting on Monday, who I was a massive fan of and really very lucky to work with. We also have a TIFF rising star with us tonight. Eleanor Worthington-Cox, who I won't say too much about because I think her work speaks for itself. Thank you, Eleanor. And Tom Nash, our producer. And then Adam Etherington, our cinematographer, who also shot the short film that this is based on, so that's very special. And then Mr. James Edward Barker, who's responsible for the eerie and strange music you're going to be hearing very shortly. And yeah, we're now going to have a very short Q&A, so sorry about that.
No. We'll be back afterwards for the Q&A. Thank you so much.
You.
William McGregor. I think my mic is not on. Sorry.
Is this one? Yes.
Hello?
Oh.
Is that one?
Oh, yes, please. Just to start.
But this one works?
This one? Hello? Okay, good. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. A different one. Yeah, that one. Okay. There you are.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing your film to Toronto. We're so excited to be premiering it here. And so the first question will be, what was your inspiration to tell this Gothic tale set in the Snowdonian Mountains in the 19th century?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of pastoral period dramas, Thomas Hardy, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, that kind of thing. But I also love the Gothic, more into like a kind of maybe a Jane Eyre type world, and also folk horror as well. And this is sort of a combination of those things. I grew up in a very rural community on a farm in the middle of nowhere. One of my sort of standout childhood memories is just what it's like living on that farm and kind of the mortality of it, dealing with the death of animals around you before. And even actually on the farm I grew up on, there was a quarry, and the sort of landscape I grew up with changed around the farm, and sort of woodlands that I'd have played in with my brother disappeared and they became a quarry. So although I didn't grow up in that period of time in
19th
Snowdonia,
century.
there's a lot in it that's sort of personal, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, through a different lens.
Definitely. And yeah, I was just so stunned by the locations and, you know, in the middle of nowhere in those mountains and the sets that were around. Were those there already, or did you have them built for the film?
So I didn't want to shoot in studios, so we found locations that we then decorated. You know, they had to be reconstructed really in terms of the interior design. But yeah, I actually spent a lot of time exploring Snowdonia and walking around the monolithic rock, which I believe is probably glacial deposition that just sort of is stuck in that valley. I stumbled across it, and the ideas then came from it. So yeah, it was a lot of just having a wander around Snowdonia and using that as inspiration, really.
Okay. Yeah, but well, that's it. You have all these kind of hints to the folklore that come through, and like, you know, even with her hood, she's not a witch, but you get the sense that, you know, there's all these different myths at play.
I think we're all trying to make sense of our own world, and how that happens is you build belief systems, and that's how folk stories occur, and people have different versions of their own points of view, and that can create friction. And that's, I think, what we want to look at here. I don't think she's a witch. I just think she's someone who is trying to protect her daughter and her family using things that she understood, that her mother did, that she carries on doing. And that goes against the grain of society at that point. That disconnect between a kind of rural way of living that harks back to an earlier generation and a kind of modernizing industrial world.
Absolutely. And so for Eleanor, for your character, GWEN, you know, having these kind of elements around of myth and horror and fear, and I will never forget that scream. So, I mean, it comes from a place of distrust in your mother, and the secrets that she may be hiding. So, how did you kind of approach playing this character?
I mean, it was great because I had the freedom, obviously, to kind of work with things as we went along, and being able to build the character as I went and build that mistrust, and it was a great experience.
Absolutely. And Maxine Peake plays the mum. And so how did your relationship kind of grow on set and then in the film?
We did a lot of bonding beforehand. We went rock climbing and baking. Yeah, it was, and then it's not exactly the kind of stuff we're doing on here, but yeah, it was really great being able to work with Maxine. She's fantastic. And being able to build that relationship as we went along, that was invaluable.
Absolutely. Okay, I'd like to open the questioning up to the audience now. This is the real fear. So would anyone like to ask a question? Okay, well, way at the back over there. Yep. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up. The question was, why did GWEN throw the cross in the fire?
I think maybe she's giving up on a belief that she might have had, and she was using that. She had a belief that her father was going to come home, and that was connected to her praying, and I think she's letting go of that.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, losing her faith in something that she put all her hope in the future towards. I don't think it's more to do with the cross than it's the fact that she's just losing hope.
But I mean, she regains it in the end in a different way, you know, just to kind of bring her sister through and pass on that hope.
Yeah, I think it's an important part of the ending. I see it as a hopeful ending. Because
Yeah.
she saw her mother as a monster, and actually all her mother was trying to do was protect her. And actually her mother makes the biggest sacrifice. And what Gwen does, the ultimate sacrifice in order to protect her children, and what Gwen does is then take on the lie that she was angry at her mother for telling her. So she becomes, she steps into that role.
Absolutely. Okay. Yep. Down here. So the question is there any historical accuracy to the quarry taking over homes and land in such a brutal manner?
It's not based on a specific story. Did a lot of research in terms of displacement of population at that time. Snowdonia in that period had the lowest amount of homeowners in the whole of the UK, because what happened is the population were pulled from their homes, maybe not exactly like that, and then used as a workforce. That's how the Industrial Revolution shaped that area. So, I mean, I think to be honest, I probably take quite a lot of historical liberties. The clapping game, for example, not accurate. But the option I was given by the historical advisor was we'd already used Blind Man's Bluff, and they're like noughts and crosses, and I decided that wasn't very cinematic. So when the clapping, but yeah, I mean, we did our research and based it in somewhere, but it's sort of we kind of made it its own world, hopefully, that people could buy into, rather than being a specific biopic of a person, if that answers your question.
No, absolutely. Okay. Yep, over here. Oh, any plans for a sequel is the question.
I think I need to do a rom-com. So...
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You have this slow creep of horror elements, I would say, because I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a genre film, but you have these very shocking moments that kind of take you off guard. So, what was your kind of reasoning, or why did you want to put those pieces in?
Yeah, I think I love horror, and I love folk horror, and I love being scared. But when I'm most scared is when I fully am invested in the characters, and I wanted to hopefully try and make something that was a drama that, maybe to begin with you didn't know was going to be a horror. It felt more like a traditional period drama. So sorry if that's exactly what you thought you were coming for. That evolves into something else, and the terror comes through the landscape, and it comes through the surrounding, and it sort of eats away. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely does. Okay, over here. Is this for the young boy in the town? Okay, so the question is for that character and his motivations to kind of help. What was his role?
Maybe he could have got more involved, but I just didn't want to do a story where a young boy comes in and helps to save the day. I didn't want to tell that story because I felt like I've seen it and I don't care about it. Yeah. So sorry, that was a horrible answer to your question. I'm not being rude.
No, I mean that was an amazing choice to have these, women kind of lost in the landscape there. Why did you choose to make it a female-centric story?
I just feel I want to see more female-led stories, and I just always saw the character like that. I think it's just we have I think the great thing about the BFI and the First Film Fund, and also the support of Film Wales and Great Point Media, is that the whole point of this scheme is that you can make something that isn't like every other film you see. You can make something more unconventional, and you can make something different. And I just think if you've been given that opportunity, then take it and just be bold and play. And maybe a female director could tell a female story, but I struggle with that in my head. But I kind of feel like I knew that character and I really wanted to tell her story. So sometimes I find it hard to exactly justify.
Yes, I think you. No, you don't need to justify that at all. Okay, any more questions from the audience? Yes, right in the middle. I mean, it's Wales.
Well, yeah, we were filming in Snowdonia in November and December, so we actually would only have 8 hours of daylight most of the time. So, and Adam, our cinematographer, made did a lot of tests and worked on sort of low lighting and working with the candles. I mean, not that anyone would watch this on a plane, but if they did, they wouldn't be able to see it. You need to see it in a cinema.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Any more questions from the audience? Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's an important story in that matter. There's also a great Czech film called Witch Hammer, which does the same thing, which I recommend checking out. That's really powerful. I think it's an important part of the story to tell. So yeah, that was definitely a big influence. Yeah.
Cool. The one line, if we have any more. Oh, yep, right down here. Yeah, Eleanor, how do you feel to see it now in its final version?
No, it's incredible. I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing my face up on a screen like that. But I mean, just the atmosphere and everything. It's all our hard work that we put in. It's fantastic to see it here.
Good, very nice. Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry, yeah, one more. So the question was it more scary? Was it more scary to film it than to watch it here?
There was definitely an atmosphere. But I mean, working with Maxine and having like the most incredible crew around me, it's hard to feel scary when you're laughing your head off in between takes and trying to break the tension. So it's probably scary to see the jumps up on a screen that big. But yeah, filming it, we had a lot of fun.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you both very much for coming for this, and thank you for bringing your film to Toronto. If you enjoyed the film, please don't forget to vote for it for your Gross People's Choice Award. Thank you. Thank you.